How long should it take you to homeschool your children? That's what we're going to discuss today. And at the end, I'm going to wrap it up with what my really heartfelt opinion is on this. Hi, I'm Nancy Marie Peterson, and I've been homeschooling for 2 decades, and I've been a mom for 3, and I've been in the education field for many years before that. I just really want to share this depth of information that I have. I'm watching different YouTubers and people talk about it and how to homeschool multiple kids and how long should it take you, and you better do it all day long, or it only takes us 3 hours, and there's this huge wave of which way. Is it 3 hours? Is it all day? Is it the same hours of school? Like, what should it look like? Because we all want to know that we're living sometimes in the parameters that we should be in. It's not that we want to be in a box, but we want to know that we're doing this well and we're doing this right. That is a great question. And that's where we want to start with your heart. Am I doing what's best for my kid? Am I servicing them well? Am I being honorable with this role that God has given me in this season? This is the reality of moms. We know where we're at. We know when we're lacking. We know when we're thriving. We know when we're missing the boat, and we know when we've nailed the target. And so the truth is, you need to stop and ask yourself, am I doing what's best for my children? Are they thriving? Are they learning? Are they growing? That is really the question that should be asked. I want to get back to the actual question. How long should it take me to homeschool my kids? So my background, as I've shared, is in the elementary, and I worked at a school, and I was a teacher and middle school and an elementary school teacher. The hours were usually, I think, 8:30 the students came in and they were done at 3. So let's look at that little block of time. Does it take 8 to 3 to homeschool my children? When I was teaching, I had 25, let's just say, kids in my classroom. It varied every year. I had to do an intro and an exit and transition times and recess and going out to lunch and getting them all back in. So it's walking time. It's going to specialist. And so you're walking there and you're walking an entire class back. So there is some time that is not wasted, but is absorbed by transitions. So let's put that into perspective. With all that transition, what should it look like in a home? So let's go with that concept. There's people swinging it one way. It should only take 3 hours. And there's people that saying you need to do the whole day. So let's back it up and let's talk about, what does your day look like? Now, I know there are times when my kids are spot on. Just the other day, my son took 3 hours to finish all of his work. And I was like, did you really do it all? Because sometimes they say that and you go back and they've missed chunks of what they were supposed to do. But he actually got it all done. He was so excited. He was so proud of himself. So on a good day, when they are spot on and the lessons are clicking and they have their groove, it doesn't have to take that long. That is the reality. But that isn't every day. And that's what you have to consider. Is there are some days it takes a little bit longer. Maybe our discussions go longer in the morning. Maybe we go off task and we talk about something else. Maybe we're interrupted. Maybe it's a harder math lesson that they're having to grasp or they're trying to get a little deeper with, and so that takes longer. Maybe it was a writing assignment and not just a simple grammar exercise they had to do. So it fluctuates by what is coming on their plate. And that's what we're not discussing. We're discussing just an overall hour. How long? Should I start at 8 and am I done at 3? Should it only take me, there's a mentality that it only should take you so many hours, or you can do it in 4 days and not 5 days. Forget what everybody is saying, this many hours or this little of hours. You need to stop as a mom and you need to take ownership in your homeschool. You are in control of this. This is your domain. It's great that you're getting wisdom out there, and that is so important. But now that you have the wisdom, now you need to sit back and go, does it take us as long as it's taking? Am I asking them to do busy work just to fill in those hours? Or are they really needing that long of time? And the other part of this equation is, if you have one child, do you have 3 children? Do you have toddlers that are interrupting your day? Are you doing co-ops? Are you doing activities outside your home? Are they waking up brisk and excited to do the day? Or are they groggy and tired and their brain's taken a while to jumpstart? Only you can answer those questions to know what works best for you. And here's the truth. I really did. At the beginning of our journey, we started school at 8. The bell pretty much rang. There wasn't really a bell, but could have been one in my head. And we were done at 3 o'clock. They could go do their own thing. I had an official schoolroom. I had a chalkboard. Actually, it wasn't a chalkboard. It was a whiteboard. Let's not be dramatic. But I had it all set up, and I ran my day like I did in a classroom. And I thrived, and I loved that environment. And my kids did fine. But over the years, we moved to Mexico. We became missionaries, and so we had to do more flexibility schooling. I didn't have a whiteboard. I didn't have the calendar set up. It changed, and we had to morph and grow into this. I guess my bottom line is, As a homeschool mother, you cannot go by times on a clock. You have to go by, what is my child grasping today? What are they learning, and are they doing their best? Are we just trying to beat a clock? Are we trying to fill up time? What do they need? It's bigger than numbers. It's bigger than time or hours. It's more about the heart of your homeschooling. Do they need breaks during the day where they can get their wiggles out and go outside and climb? And maybe it's a season where it's beautiful outside. In the winter, you can't do that as much. And so you have to remain flexible. You cannot put yourself in this rigid box and say, we're going to start here and we're going to stop there. The truth is, here's what I want to wrap it up and share this. The truth is, homeschooling works best within the parameters that you set as a mom, that you have felt the beat of your family. You know what lessons take as long as they take, when they're learning and when they're not. It's less about, are you doing enough? There are some days 3 hours is enough, and there are some days 6 hours isn't enough. And that is the reality of homeschooling. And that is the beauty and the freedom of homeschooling, is when it only takes 3 hours, then you take the 3 hours. When it takes 6-8 hours, you have to take those 6-8 hours. And so when it comes down to this debate on how many hours should it take in the school, do not engage in it. Do not go there. And that's what hopefully you'll get out of this more than anything, is stop, as in anything with homeschooling, is go back and decide what is best for my family. The whole point of homeschooling is you're doing this because this is best for your kids. And if you're still seeking outside approval or outside recognition or outside permission or whatever you're looking for, let that go and to pick up the parts that really will help you be the best homeschooling mom, provide the best homeschooling environment that your kids need, and get away from the debates. If you're doing what's best for your child and you know that in your heart, you have nothing to debate about. You have nothing to prove. You have nothing to show people. And I got to be honest with you, there are seasons I wasn't sure, was this our best? Was it their best? Were we handling it? And there are seasons that I can say, no, we didn't do our best. And there are seasons we were rocking it out of the park. And life goes with an ebb and flow. And even in the schools, when I was teaching, there were times that my students were spot on and we used the best of our days, and there were days that was wasted for whatever the reason was. I always think you need a beginning. You need a start point that your kids know this is when school should start. Whatever that looks like in your family, whether they start before that or you group as a family together at some point in the morning. And that's kind of your launching morning. And then as the day goes on, maybe some get done earlier, maybe some stay a little longer, and you have a parameter of what needs to be done. So it's less about hours in your day. Should you start at 8? Should you be done at 3? It's more about, what do your kids need and what does that look like for your family today in this season? Because this season will change. You may have another baby. You may end up with a high schooler next year. You may end up with heavier need of going over reading because they're not grasping it or whatever it is. The whole point of homeschooling is that you don't have to live in that structured system. You get to decide what is best, what you can do for your kids. And that is my heart today, is that you won't look for others for answers that you know in your heart to be true. In reality, you usually know all the facts. You would know all the details of your family. If I sat and you asked me this one-on-one and you said, hey, Nancy, what should my hours be? The reality is, I don't know. How long does it take your kids? What does your days look like? How long do you take lunch? What does that look like for your kids? The reality is, you know what's best for your kids. You really do. And if you sat back and if I were to turn it on you and say, how long should it take for your homeschool? How long do you need to accomplish it? If you can stop and answer that question, perfect. That's the point. I hope I have given you some wisdom and insight, and I hope that I have released some of that anxiety and some of those points that are trigger points, and I hope that I have helped you stay more intentional in this journey. All right, I will see you in the next video.